And last but not least, the Ray adaptation model, where humans are adaptive systems that cope with change through adaptation. The assumption I had before coming to understand the research was that sex trafficked individuals were seen as victims in the sex trade. But this was not the case in most countries. For example, in South Korea, rags are used as a comparison to women, stating that once they are dropped and dirtied, they can never be clean again. My journey on how I tackled answering my inquiry question was quite an interesting process. I found that I had to alter my question 3 times in order to find specific information about the topic. My original question was, how have persons who have experienced human trafficking been affected physically, mentally, and emotionally in their journey of recovery? Some of the reasons on why I altered my inquiry question was that finding information on the journey of recovery was practically non-existent. There were very few interviews, articles about what happens after a victim is identified. This could possibly be to keep the identity of the victim hidden and allow for healing to occur. This decision was also made because human trafficking is such a broad topic and is classified into 2 types, sex trafficking and labor trafficking. Since I had done a project for my 318 class on child labor, I chose to focus on sex trafficking to gain a deeper understanding of the topic at hand. Plus, there was a lot more information on the emotional impacts of sex trafficking, unlike labor trafficking. I found that even though the topic is prevalent, there was limited information about sex trafficking in Canada, as opposed to places like India, Bangladesh, and South Korea. So, Canadian-centered research was fairly limited. In order to answer my inquiry question, I looked at a variety of peer-reviewed resources, some research articles dating back from 2013 to 2020. By using articles that are out of date and comparing them to current ones, we can see the growth of the crisis, the trend, as well as new tools of aid to identify victims of sex trafficking. I watched documentaries that focus on how the government turns a blind eye and stigmatizes victims of the sex trade. These documentaries illuminate current issues effectively by bringing forth human faces with their own stories to fully capture the extent of the problem. I chose to use a wide range of sources because I personally think it allows to see the situation from different forms, removing bias. For example, when comparing a documentary to a research article, documentaries tend to introduce victims, survivors, and everyday individuals, and it creates a sense of realism that statistics and data collected by experts cannot possibly fulfill. These peer-reviewed research articles used qualitative, quantitative, and mixed method research. All of these articles are found on either the CINAHL database or the NCBI, which is a reputable site that is part of the United States National Library of Medicine. These articles are written and reviewed by reputable authors with a background in medicine or women's studies. Since the data collected has gone under the strenuous process of qualitative, quantitative, and